All right, guys, I'm back. I'm a little late to Power Hour, but still, we're not gonna make a move until 2:30. But we're already seeing a little bit of pullback. I'm munching on some lunch, so I'll be muted for a minute. But we hit the morning target. My ES, I could have held that a lot longer. That SPX, that's at the 69.75. SPY, I said we would hit that high of the day. High of Friday, so there's our target from Friday. We hit that and went well above it, and we respected. Oh, I wasn't trying to move it. We respected the second um, standard deviation 2 or upper band 2, and now we're just seeing a light pullback. Again, I wouldn't take puts at the end of the day until we break that support, and we could see another leg up. So this played out really, really well. We got a little stagnant in the afternoon, but still great setup. We hit the targets. Hey, K Watch for checking in. Thank you guys for coming back for Power Hour. So we're gonna watch again. I wouldn't take any late in the day Power Hour play until 2:30. That's when the late contracts on most brokerages are closed out. So we're gonna give it to 2:30. I'm still in the 5 minute. If you're checking on SPX, drop down to the 1. But again, I would stay very close on SPX, looking at the 69.85 and 69.90s. So let's check those SPX contracts. We can get those late in the day moves. $185 to 65. If we get a bounce, if we're looking on the put side, staying right there. These are the only two contracts you should be looking at just late in the day for that Power Hour play that I show you guys. But we're gonna wait on 2:30. We don't want to jump the gun. Let's let the market kind of find its bearing and see if we do get another pop or a drop. If you took SPY calls and held those, let's actually go to the SPY contracts again. SPY, we're still gonna stay right in the money. You don't want to get too far out. So 695 put or 696, and then right here on the call 696, 695. These are the two contracts. We're not going. I told y'all we're not getting those late in the day, and I'm not sure if the 695 ever got back to those that $5. So that's going to be a hard close. Hopefully, when it hit its high, who had that 697, they were able to close that contract. We are live. A mecha human is the 5 minute or 15 minute time frame more optimal for visualize for newer short term traders doing Power Hour or the 1 minute. No, it depends on what you're trading. I would stick to the 5. Um, if you're doing SPY or IWM, if you're on SPX, I would say drop down to the 1 minute. You don't have to be on the higher time frame because we're late in the last day. We're only going to have another 30 minutes, so you don't have to go up on those higher time frames. Some people like the 3. The 5 is perfectly fine. Again, I still have the sponsor of the show, Gender Amplified. I much appreciation to Ebony Smith for hopping in earlier today. After we got off the live, um, we were able to chat for an hour or so, so it was good catching up with my good friend. So again, take some time, check out Gender Amplified. Great things coming this year, and some collaboration. So look forward to that. If anybody would like to collab or be the sponsor of the show, promote your product or your brand, let me know, reach out. I'll get everything going. You can definitely get promo and be a part of the show. I need to buy multiple SPY contracts. I'm still buying single contracts since I'm not consistent with profits. Well, wait until you get about 2 or 3 weeks under your belt where you are consistent, and then you can add on contracts. You don't have to be in a rush. Get that consistency down and then expand because it could bite you in the butt. If you're buying more contracts and then it moves against you. So get the consistency down, then add or scale in 1 to 2 at a time. You don't have to jump out with 5 to 10. So keep it up. You got this. SPY and SPX moving down to the standard deviation 1. So we're in between standard deviation 1 and 2. Well off VWAP, so this is looking good. We could get a bounce here back up to that high. So let's see if buyers come back in or if they've given up for the rest of the day. Bank of America made its way back up to VWAP after being down. Let's take a look at the rookie. Oh, it came down slightly. A little under VWAP. A little underwhelming, but it did get a strong push up. Same for Disney. Everything popped and then kind of came down and settled for Bank of America, Disney, and SPX. Let's look at TSLL. Got a little bit out of the range. Not a whole heck of a lot. But we're starting to see those larger movements at the beginning of the day. And then kind of stagnant the rest of the day, the trading period. SPY and SPX need to hold that standard deviation 1 to get another pop up. What are you guys watching? Is everybody watching SPY and SPX for this late in the day move? It seems to be holding here. We wanted to hold that support at 695.30. Yep, it's stagnant. We're not getting a move in either direction, so I'm not getting a big um confirmation. Us not holding or getting a green candle makes me like we might get a little bit of a drop. Maybe a little hard to see with the Heikenashis. But you can see just a little piece of gap in between here. And we're kind of spot on with our regular candles. But yeah, if we don't break this support, I wouldn't take anything. If we hold it, calls right in the money. All right, we're getting the pop right there. I'm gonna grab some tissue and come right back. All right, getting a couple of bullish candles. We're after the 230. So again, let's watch those contracts. I really want y'all to pay attention to how the price action moves. That's gonna be key. So if we're looking at the 695, that is $63, and the 696 is $10. Let's see if those get a move. And then let's look at the SPX, because again I said the 69.80, 69.85. No, I think I said 69.85 and 90. We weren't quite this high up. So the 69.80 is going to be 265, and the 69.85 is going to be 85. We're kind of pressing it. If you get that 69.90 at $30, that's super risky. I would say stay between those two contracts. If you were on this morning, if you were on this morning, drop a one in the chat. If you're just tuning back in for Power Hour this afternoon, put a two. All right. Checking back in from this morning. Good deal, good deal. Trying to push down again. Again, we may not get a big move. I usually like to sit between 230 and 245 to see, but this is very, very low volume. Nothing's nothing's giving me anything right now. How do I determine how much pullback is acceptable? I got out of my SPY trade with light profit because I had meetings. One, respect your time commitments. If you can't watch it and you can't put a trailing stop, definitely get out. But you can use multiple different tools. You can look at pullback to VWAP. You can look at pullback from the standard deviation. You can also look at pullback to a previous support. If it breaks one of those levels on your 5 minute or whichever time frame that you're utilizing, then that's your standard. So look at that, looking at whether it's pulling back, to a particular standard deviation, VWAP, or your previous support. I didn't have a limit order when I purchased my contract. I got you. So again, we're just bouncing around in these contracts. But again, when you look at the contract, the premium as we get later in the day, we're only about 10 minutes later. That 69.80 contract has already dropped from 265 to 175. So that's why I say the later, when it comes to SPX, the later you get it, the better. When it's moving, because you don't want to get stuck or trapped it or have that theta start to eat at your particular contract. As we're still standing under 69.80, let's look at the 69.80 put. Sorry, the 69.75 put. It's 160, and the 69.75 and 69.70 or 160 and $70. So again, just looking at this as a paper trade hedge. Which direction? Again, I would want this to be over 69.80 to be more bullish. Bearish, we want to see it drop under. So again, we're just sitting on that support line. Nothing is telling me which contracts to get. That's why I just wrote down the contract prices so you can see how much theta really eats up the trade. Let's scale back over to SPY, because the SPY contracts were 63 and $10. So let's come back. So now those are down. So we're at 48 and 6. So I've eyeballed it. So let me write that down, 48 and 6. So again, we get out of those cheapy weepies 196 call. Just probably sit here in the money at the 595. But this looking like it's going to drop. I don't know if buyers are going to come in, but I want to see a clear close for more confirmation, because a strong volume candle like this could easily prop this back up. You don't want to get trapped. You want confirmation. There we go. We're below that wick. So this is looking definitely more bearish. We did look at the SPX puts for contracts. So those are $160 and $70. So let's round those back. 160 and 70 is still down. Like the market moved down a whole buck, but this is still down $20. This is still down 25 $25. So even though it took a little bit of a drop down, it didn't move the contract that much. I see how SPX. Yeah, I'd be more comfortable. It just is 69.75 because that's the next layer of support for SPX. So that was that 160 contract. And it is down a little bit. Again, we're down $15. Just looking at the paper trade. Let's see how that continues to fare. As we're waiting, again, another shameless plug. The stock options group mentorship is Saturday mornings at 11. The group 2 is at 12. Anybody wanting to get started, if you reach out to me, DM me, or send me an email. Prices did go up, but you can still lock in at 500 if you're a YouTube subscriber. The one-on-one mentorship is usually $2K. That sell price had gotten down to $12.50. Again, if anybody's ready to take advantage of it this week, I probably could still honor that price. But right now, the one-on-one mentorship is $2K. The discount is 15. The discount is 500, making it 1,500 for 8 weeks, one-on-one with me. If you need just a one-on-one session, you say, hey, I just need some time. I want to pick your brain, ask a couple of questions. You can book your one-on-one session. Those are $800 per session. If you get the SPX and ATR replay, I did give a discount code on that replay, making those one-on-one $75. So if you've been thinking about getting a one-on-one, don't want to bite the bullet at the 100, spend the $20, get the educational replay video, and also get a code that can be used multiple times, making those one-on-one $75. All right, we're breaking down. Let's go back to the contract. And it hasn't gained much. Again, it's still down. We clocked this 69.75 contract at 160. And this is why it's always important. And I say, use your watch list or paper tray so you can see how we've dropped that. It dropped down a little bit and then popped back up, and that contract just lost its steam. It got down here to 69.76 and still propped right back up, not having any profit. It looks like it's going to try to close under, but again, it doesn't take much volume. This was a very deep, dark, or a very large volume candle to the downside, and it's still holding up. I just want y'all to watch that premium. We're almost back at entry. Now, that's good. That little drop. We can get this back. If it could go back down to 69.76, this will probably get some profit there. Again, if I'm in this 160 contract, it probably would have hit my stop loss. I would have had a $20 to $40 stop loss. So if this drops down to 120, it would kick me out and then take profit, probably 200, get you a gain of $40, or just go in and submit a sale order. And if you don't know what that looks like, let me show you how that would look. Oh man, they want to run me through the ringer to get back in. right, let's go. So let's look at that contract, how you would set it up if you've never entered a trade or you don't know how to set it. Oh, it already dropped some more. But if you were in this one, you want to be set to buy, and then I can set my stop loss and my take profit and say, okay, I'm only willing to lose about, let's say, $20. And then I'll set my TP, and it's at 170. So I'm gonna go. I mean, it's at $70. I'm gonna go 140. So when you get those drastic drops on SPX, go ahead, just put in the contract for a. Why did? Oh, make sure I did it. Nope. Hold on. I don't know why it's. Oh, because it's got 10 contracts. I'm like, why is it so expensive? There we go. We're just running that 100% return. One contract, $70. And it looks like it's moving up because these contracts are getting pushing away. So that the 69.80 contract, when we first saw this was 265. It definitely would have already hit our stop loss, even though market's pushing back up. And we did not get a clean close. It tried to close. And that's why I say you want a clean close when you're trying to get entry. You're looking for a close above or below for confirmation. Whether you're on the 1 minute, 5 minute, you're looking for that confirmation. So you can see here we're still not closing above or below, whether I'm on the 1 minute, 5 minute, that standard deviation, and it pops right back up. So again, I'm probably not going to play with this. This is giving me sour hour, but we know in the last 12 minutes it could still pop up and give us power hour. So, but right now it's giving sour. I'm gonna clock it and say this is a sour hour. And why am I saying sour hour? If it's power hour, that means we were able to make a play and make some money. But both calls and put sides of these, neither one of us printed for it. So this is gonna make is why I call it a sour. It's power when we can get a play up out of it. But I'm not really seeing it. It's the last 10 minutes. Yes, you can make a late minute play on SPX. You cannot do this on a 0 DTE inside a SPY, but you can take SPX in those last 5 or 10 minutes. So if we were looking at that, probably still bullish on SPX, and we come off of the call side, come off the put side, come over to the calls. You'd be looking at the 69.80, and that's 170. Again, if I came in and put those contracts in, make sure you just got one listed. Set me a stop loss at probably 130. To set my take profit at like 220 or 320. Would that give me $100? We're just trying to see about getting about $100 to 80. There we go. At 2.7. But I don't know if that would get entry. That jump pop right back down. So again, this would just chop you up. That's why I say we want a full close above or below. I didn't see the move. I'm not seeing it until we can close below that level right there, which is the wick of that first pullback right under the standard deviation one. So if we go back and look at the put side, now the puts are going up. This would just chop anybody out. I wouldn't play with this. I like for a nice strong move, a clear consensus of a close above or below to take that move. But this is a little too much. It stayed stagnant for far too long. You're right, K Watts. It did not present the setup we would need for that power hour play. And knowing when we see that again, this is why I wanted to paper trade it. I didn't see it. We've stagnated and kind of consolidated throughout the day and then getting those legs up. So now we're getting it kind of late in the day. I'm not touching that thing. So I hope that was a learning. Again, I don't want you guys to be like, oh, Chastity said we have an 80 to 90% chance at the end of the day. We do. But it does not. It's still that 10 to 20% of the time where we can get into power hour and not not get profit. All right, had to let the kiddo back in the house and get my pork chops. Like I said, it was 40 degrees here in Conroe, and now it's 60. So I was able to defrost my pork chops outside, and I had to put them in the microwave. Now look at that! Look at that pump. It did all of that, and now the last 3 minutes, it wants to pop up. What are the contracts even doing? The 69.80 is almost back at entry. But I don't know. I don't think anybody would have held through that pullback. That you would have probably closed due to it hitting your stop, because that had dropped down to about like 180. But if you got in when it pulled back at that 165, what I was showing with the 130 stop and then a 270 take profit, you would now be in profit if you got in at 165 because it's up to 240. But I mean, we probably would have got stumped out and beat down in that play before it even printed. I wouldn't have touched it. Like in that long week, even though it's getting the move back up, I still call this sour because it's playing both sides. All it's doing is getting premium off of people. So you can either you can pay tuition to the market or pay it to someone and learn how to trade to keep you out of crappy trades like this. But yeah, this late in the day move, it could get another pump. It's already at 69.80. We probably get 69.85. 69.80, 69.85. That's only $20, but it's not going it might not do too much. I would put in 20 and put a sale at 40. Just get your $40. Because now this contract has gone all the way back down. We saw it up to the 240s. Now it's back at 180. It's not holding through that wick. Again, if we're on SPX, if it helps you, you can come down to a 1 minute. But yeah. Sour hour. Have you taken a one DTE put for the next day for spotted drop to 25% above today's low? Um, you can, but when you're looking at any trade that you're gonna swing, the theta has to make it work. So if I do that and we come down and we're at the 68, I'm sorry, 69, you're here. So 69.80, 69.75, even 69.50, that's a lot of capital to swing. And you're a little bit further out the money. And then when we slide over, I don't like the volume in the OI. And then I look at the theta. My delta versus this really has to drop. I'm risking $600 for this to drop, and I get 25, 24, $25 for every dollar that it dropped. But the theta is pretty much the whole value of my contract. Swinging this overnight is going to be way too expensive risk to reward wise to me. to do it with the 1 DTE. Now, if you do it on SPY, it might not be as bad, but looking at the SPX, that was way too pricey. So let's take a look at SPY. And if I do the next day's expiration, and we want a 20% split, more affordable here. Volume and open interest look better. I definitely wouldn't do it on SPX. Still gonna have that high theta, but you got to think about, okay, I got a theta of 127. This needs to fall down at least like $3 to kind of compensate for that theta. Because so most of the time, unless you get a drastic move overnight, you usually just open break even or slightly negative, and then you get a reversal. So I would say practice paper trading your overnight swings with the 1 DTEs. That's why I usually just don't swing. It's just a lot easier to just take the trade the next day than swinging it, unless we have plenty of news. And let's go back. Let's see. The news for tomorrow. I think it was CPI. So news for tomorrow. Yes, CPI. New home sales and the 30-year yield bond. We had the 10-year bond today. We got the 30-year bond tomorrow. No problem. That's what I'm here for. That is what I'm here for. Again, I appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Make sure you share this out, like the content. It definitely helps the channel. And I want to keep adding value to you guys. All right, guys, we got 2 more minutes. I don't see too much action popping off. We may get a last minute play, but I wouldn't get into it. Again, this looks more like it's gonna drop another um, to another low. If you took the SPX, and let's just say you did a 1 minute play right now, again, this is just super risky. 185, 180, or a $5 contract. We'd want to see this jump up to like 300. There's the 185 put. We were looking at the 175, so that would have went to zero. Yeah, nothing, nothing burger at the end of the day. This may drop again to 69.75, but I don't see it doing too much, and it only has 1 minute to make that drop. And again, we'd be looking at the 69.80 contract. Does that hit 300? Does it give another drop to the 69.76? It's moving. There's 250. At end of day, there it goes. It's done. So again, you have to stay close to the money when you're looking at those 0 DTEs. Last day, again, this was very sour. No play set up. I didn't enter anything. The paper trade, again, a little bit of pullback here, but we were waiting for 230. It already kind of made it move up to 220, and that's it. Again, just to keep money in our pocket, not in theirs, by seeing how power hour can play out. Sometimes it can be very rewarding. Sometimes it can be boring. And today we can call it, again, I called it sour. At 2:48, I'm going to continue to say this one is a sour evening. No power hour play. No outlook for tomorrow. I wouldn't swing anything. If you have Robinhood or Webull, you can trade late up until 3:14 Central Time. But I'm not seeing anything to swing. I don't know. Not quite sure if CPI is going to be good or not. But if we push it up, I would stay very close. Getting just a dollar. Let's look at SPY contracts. So I would stick with 695, 696 call, or 695, 694 puts right in the money, strangle. Nothing crazy. But again, if y'all don't have any questions, I'll catch y'all. Will I be on in the morning? Probably not. Um, Tuesday is my wife's off day, so I might not even be on. But if the markets start having a lot of activity, I might hop on for a quick hour. But I will give you guys a heads up. If you don't have any questions, I will see you guys later. I'm gonna put the invite up if anybody wants to come on, say anything, or ask any questions. If not, then we'll get on up out of here. So yeah, I got about 3 minutes to ask a question or come on. I'll bring you up on stage, or we'll call this a day. We're definitely calling this one Sour Hour. More than welcome, more than welcome. Like I said, I know chat delays, but if we don't have any questions, we're out of here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Go back and rewatch. If you missed the morning session, go back and rewatch that. Watch how that played out and watch the plays and levels that I had marked and how they played out throughout the day. Y'all good? All right. Well, everybody's quiet. Y'all have a good one. I'll catch you guys rest of this week. If you got questions or anything, drop them in the comment section. If you're catching the replay, drop replay. You can also comment on the post. Any other topics you would like to go over. Y'all have a good one. Be safe.